Today on this episode of Transitional News, we are talking about show me, not the show me state of Missouri,
right?
But trust me is now
show me.
Stay tuned. Hi, welcome to Transitional News, where we view current events through a prophetic lens. I'm Sherry Erb.
And I'm Mary Beth McElroy. During this particular episode, we want to bring to you the issue of trust. We are seeing and experiencing that the people of this nation and the nations have trust issues. We have major trust issues. And we would used to laugh like we just did and say, you just got a trust issue. But there's reasons that we have trust issues. We have trust issues with the Department of Human Services. We have trust issues with the Food and Drug Administration. We're having trust issues with education, trust issues with media, trust issues with education, trust issues with the government, trust issues with the It's so much, it's an However, what is really the prophetic lens here as we are dealing with trust? We opened with Missouri, the show me state. And Sherry, we just wanted to look and make sure that we had Missouri, the show me state. And Sherry, what did you find?
So it's very interesting, right? You see the license plates, right, for the state of Missouri, and it says the show me state. So we wanted to make sure it's actually Missouri, not like Kansas or something.
Yeah.
This is what it says, right? It's the show me state, of course, is Missouri. And this nickname, listen to this, reflects the state's reputation for skepticism and the need for proof or evidence. And really, trust issues are a big thing right now culturally for all of us. And you can see it filtering down into families, into relationships, dealing with professors and teachers at schools, right? Dealing with pastors and attendees at churches, right? In the church mountain, as well as name it. You just name it all, right? There's trust issues there because it's being deconstructed, all institutions about the same time, so that there can be reconstruction of those institutes and get the foundations laid again, right? Get truth in the inward parts of these institutions and truth in the inward parts of humankind so that we can be trustworthy again.
Right. And I was sharing with Sherry just a few minutes ago, and I said, now in this day, if we say, just trust me, immediately, what are you thinking? You're thinking, it's like this red flag goes up because we actually have become very skeptic. We're very skeptic in our ability to decipher what is truth and what is false. And I believe that one of the things that we're understanding from the Lord is that truth has been diluted, it has been sidetracked, it's been absolutely delusional. And so we do not have a plumb line of truth that is the standard. And anytime the truth standard begins to be altered, therefore trust is what begins to
erode.
To erode.
Yeah. And how can you build a relationship, even in business, without trust? How can you go get a loan at the bank if the bank doesn't trust you? How can you even walk with your neighbor in unity and in peace if there's not some kind of trust? How can you obey laws within your nation if there's not trust? And again, we're not talking about blind trust, right? Where you just la 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 whatever you say. There's a saying that all of us know and have heard, and especially in the business arena as well as in the legal arena, and that is trust but verify, right? So that you start building that foundation again of trust, but then you just verify the information. That was something else that we were discussing, right? It's really hard sometimes anymore to even trust the information that you're getting. because we've so allowed propaganda to begin to be
Yes.
thrown out in our culture. It used to not be that way, right? But several administrations ago, the federal government actually removed that gate and that fence that said you can't use propaganda laws against our own citizens. It got removed. And because of that, we've just seen this onslaught, and the digital world has no guardrails right now. So people's opinions being presented at fact, we all do that. I mean, if you're a human being, you're going to give your opinion as fact. It just is how it is. But when you're doing, media that's supposed to be, well, we're just presenting, things that have happened, we're pushing it through a lens that is skewed towards propaganda or skewed towards untruth, instead of simply presenting the facts and letting the hearer choose, okay, is that truth or not? And then them being able to go and find verification, not based on the algorithm that the digital world gives.
That is major.
Listen up here, young ones and even older ones. Stop believing the algorithm. You are underneath the control of a machine already and don't even know it. So kick in your brain. This is why it's so important sometimes to go back to the paper books and the paper way. Go to the library and look at something, by paper and by book, so that you can look at the back and say, oh, here's the bibliography. Here's the reason where they got all this information, that it has a much more solid foundation until we can get guardrails put back on the digital life.
Yes, and I think that one of the things that we want to really beware of is opinions. And Sherry's already touched on opinions, but I'm seeing a generation who just wants to know everyone's opinion. And then they will, after they get everyone's opinion, they then begin to side with who has the same opinion as they have. And when that happens, you are truly being deceived. You're being deceived because you and I believe, is that it is truly God and His word and His kingdom that is trustworthy. He is the one who is trustworthy. And in our culture today, God is distorted as well. It's all distorted.
Yeah.
Used to, I am 64 years old. I don't mind telling you. And when I was 12 years old, God was God. God was God. And there was one God, and He was God. And now we have self-idolatry, and we are gods, and there's this God, and there's that God, and all the different gods. But God is shifting things, and He's shaking things. And a generation that is beginning to be reset so that we can literally not place any hope, faith, and trust in anything but God and His written word.
Yeah. So we just want to encourage you during this time of reconstruction, because that's really what's beginning to happen, right?
Yes.
Think about every institution that you used to say, oh, well, if the doctor said this, I could trust. Now you kind of go, I need to do research, right? Although the doctors are like, stop Googling all of this stuff.
Right,
You don't have
right.
the training. It's not like people who come into my office, right? They're like, I Googled this, and then I have to look at them and say, okay, but Google is not an attorney, I mean,
Right.
and it's the same way, right, with scriptures and things, right? And all of a sudden, theology is coming through the digital world, and then you're sitting down and talking with somebody, and you're like, okay, I'm a minister, right? That's not the truth. This is the true theology. So, but to get that basis again of this time that everything's getting taken apart, and those of you who have been praying for corruption to be shown, it's happening.
It is
Be
happening.
encouraged. And so one of the examples we were using was during after the Civil War in the 1800s.
Yes, this is so good.
There was a time of reconstruction that was going on, because now all of a sudden you had to try to bring this nation that got divided. How do you bring them back together, right? You had literal neighbor against neighbor fighting each other, and you even had families fighting each other, brother against brother, right? And now that it's over, how do you do this? And it was in that Reconstruction time, right, where the first African Americans were actually holding office as federal, U.S. Congress people.
Right.
And at that time, and so they were able to step in, and their wisdom was begun to be used. But then also during that time, because the Reconstruction, there was so much of it going on, and the church itself had withdrawn, right? The believers had withdrawn from governing. Then that void got filled with others that eventually led to the Jim Crow laws. Then in the 1950s and the 1960s, that got hit. So because those Jim Crow laws began to come in right in the early 1900s and got worse and worse and worse until it had to get deconstructed. So we're in this reconstructive period right now, and it's unstable. It's hard to trust. It's hard to listen to people. It's hard to have a conversation. It's you almost don't want to go someplace sometimes if there's like 10 people there that look a certain way or act a certain way, because you're like, can I trust even my own physical safety? Am I going to get attacked if I go to the restaurant because of something I'm wearing? And it's very, very difficult. And so we just really want to encourage you. The scripture in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6 tell us this.
It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your understanding. And in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And that's our message. Our message is there is a place of trust. And there is a place that right now God is restructuring so that we can look again and that we can have true faith, true trust, and the truth is being reestablished. I can believe that. Sherry, can you believe that the God who created, he's the one who created the earth. He's the one who created all of us. He's the one who created all the nations for his glory. And therefore, truth will be established.
Yes.
And he will watch over that which he created, and he will establish truth. And truth first starts in the person, the person of Jesus Christ. And therefore, we're encouraging you, turn off the media, get a paperback book, get a paper book, get a hardback paper book. Just get paper. Just do something uniquely different. Stop the algorithm. Stop what's feeding you, feeding your mind, feeding your soul, and truly dominating our hearts into places that we may not even know is truly deteriorating our faith and our trust systems. So, hallelujah, Sherry.
So, we've got to learn to trust. And to do that, you have to develop relationship, and that is with the Lord and trust with other human beings.
It is true.
That's the only way that trust can grow and get better and better. So we want to bless you as we leave you today. We say trust, show, verify, establish your relationship with the Lord. Goodbye until next time.
Goodbye.